All right, welcome back for those that went with us into the break. We are now going into a business update, scaling up value addition, I must insist, in agricultural produce across the country. This is the conversation that is in the corridors of the corporate offices ahead of one of the most anticipated events this year, the Uganda-South Africa Trade and Investment Summit that is due. Well, before I introduce my latest guest, let me just give you a bit of a preamble. The agriculture sector continues to be the most important in the country, employing approximately 72% of Ugandans and contributing more than 32% to GDP. However, productivity is limited by reliance on natural weather conditions and is still widespread use of traditional methods and equipment. Uganda is among the leading producers of coffee, banana, and oilseed crops, and Uganda-South Africa Trade Summit will be looking at the latest opportunities. One of the companies that are pushing this particular summit in order to ensure that the resolutions reached are actually arrived at in terms of implementation and execution is Nile Breweries Limited. I'm now joined by the Managing Director, Adu Rando, for more perspective on the brewery's impetus into this particular conference and what else is happening when it comes to value addition. A very warm welcome to the program, Mr. Rando.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you at NTV.
First time to meet you since taking on the role at Nile Breweries. How are you finding the agriculture landscape in the country, given the fact that the products that you put out, the raw materials, are within the agriculture space?
Yeah, so first I must say Uganda is blessed by nature in terms of weather conditions, soil.
Yeah.
Everyone knows we have 2 seasons per year, so it's a very rich, fertile land, right? And that's great. We have great produce. It actually reminds me of the countryside of the state where I come from in Brazil, with this reddish soil, right?
Yeah.
Now, particularly in our sector, Nile Breweries has been working strongly with the local community and the local farmers to help them be skilled, to help develop them, so that we are able to increase the capacity of production of barley, sorghum, and maize, so that we're able to source locally everything that we need to make our beer. And I think we have a wonderful success story and business case to share with the community, but more particularly during the Uganda-South Africa Summit, because all of this is only possible due to our strong and close collaboration with our South African mother company, South African Breweries, and we bring a lot of innovation and investment from there that has made this possible, and we'll probably talk more in detail throughout the course of this morning.
Okay, agro-processing is the impetus, especially when it comes to what's going to be discussed in the agriculture sector by some of the tenants and delegates at the summit. With regard to the value addition chorus that President Yoweri Museveni constantly puts out, how possible is it to quickly realign the agro industry to ensure that the value addition that is required is reached within the proportions that are of international standards? Because value addition can be at the farm gate, and then by the time these products or produce reaches the market, there are inconsistencies. How does Nile Breweries ensure that farmers, for example, do the right thing so that the right products reach the market?
Right. Yeah, so this is the biggest question we'll be discussing during the summit, right? What are the things that we must do as a private sector and as government to foster this this playing field where everybody is encouraged to come and invest, knowing that it's going to be a win-win outcome, both for the local economy, for the government, and tax collection and increased revenue for the government, while also boosting businesses, right? So at Nile Breweries, we have a great case to share of this partnership with the government that we like to give praise in terms of strategic long-term thinking that addresses this request, let's say, or this drive from the president, from the government. So on different levels of projects. So more specifically, more recent, we've gone on a project to have some incentives to produce beer with a local crop, which is sorghum, which isn't widely used in a lot of markets because sorghum is not available.
Yeah.
And as you know, beer, you could brew it with different types of cereals, different types of carbohydrates.
That is right.
And we've gone from almost nothing to almost 35-40% of our beer production using sorghum. And it's actually, with the technology we have today, it's a delicious beer. It's in our Eagle brands, our Eagle lines. And that has dramatically increased the amount of sorghum crop that has been produced and sold to us or to the industry, to other breweries as well.
That's right.
And that has helped boost the local economy. Now, speaking specific about how to increase the value chain, right? Over the last 5 years, we have been investing heavily in world-class practices for farming that we bring from our South Africa counterparts. We have people that come here often to train our teams, and they go and train the farmers. In 2022, we directly trained almost 10,000 farmers. In the last 5 years, this number adds up to 25,000 farmers with proper processes and techniques for farming. And we've managed to triple the amount of barley per farmer production. So in the last 5 years, we tripled. Now, when you put this together with the $20 million investment we made in the malting facility of Jinja, this has allowed us to go from being a net importer of malt, meaning we didn't make enough. Malt is basically cooked barley, right? You put barley into and you cook it, and that's malt that goes into the beer. Okay. We didn't have enough, and we had to import some of the malt. Now, this year in 2023, due to all of this cooperation, investment, training, skill improvements, and having so much barley, for the first year in history, Nile Breweries is going to be a net exporter of malt, because all of a sudden we have a lot of barley. We need to produce it in malt. We have the capacity because we invested in that. That's right. And now we're starting to be a net exporter. And I think this connects a lot with what President Museveni has been talking about in terms of adding value across the supply chain and in the agro-processing sector of Uganda, and exporting more value than just the raw material. So we're very proud of that.
Okay. You spoke of the fact that sorghum isn't readily available elsewhere in the world, and Uganda being one that has a lot of sorghum and has come up with the beers that specifically address this particular product or farm seed. What is the opportunity when it comes to exportation of beer that has been made strictly from sorghum to countries like South Africa? Do these guys in South Africa love sorghum-based beer? Could it offer an opportunity for exportation? That's
actually a good question. You're not off. I think that is an opportunity. Now, we need to remember something very unique about beer. Is that beer is natural, it's inclusive, it's for everyone, that 18 and above, of course, and beer is local. Right? We don't design. It's not like we design the beer here and we assemble or manufacture this in Bangladesh, like some products. So normally you use the local crops that you have near you to brew. And we've been going on this journey, like I said, to increase how much we source locally with good partnership with the government in regards to sorghum and other incentives that we had. And we moved from about 70% only of raw materials being sourced here in Uganda to 99.5% in 2022. And so to answer your question, I don't know that sorghum is a crop that is very available and flourishes in the South African soil. So I'll have to come back to that, because beer is typically best fresh with local ingredients, local raw materials. But if they don't, and that might be an opportunity for us to export a little bit more to our friends in South Africa.
All right, no doubt we shall be looking at that, and I'm sure that's one of the conversations that will be at the Uganda South Africa Trade and Investment Summit that is coming up. Mr. Abdu Rando, Managing Director at NA Breweries, many thanks for the perspective that you've offered us. I'm afraid we are out of time. I hope we've been able to put it
Thank you very much.
across.